One of the most interesting things about this movie Anaconda is it came out on Christmas, not December 19th when The Housemaid came out or SpongeBob or Avatar. It came out on Christmas Day, which hints that, this is a fun movie to go see with the family. This is a frustrating movie, honestly. And it's very interesting because the Anaconda franchise, which this movie heavily leans into, it leans into this idea, and I like the idea it presents of sequels and trying to satirize Hollywood culture and reliance on franchises. And I honestly think that from an audience perspective, at least, modern audiences in 2025, people don't think Anaconda's this big thing. I mean, I feel like it's a relatively forgotten movie from the late 90s that had a lot of big stars in it. You had Jon Voight, Ice Cube, J-Lo. This movie does reference that. And I think that this movie had such potential to not only, go into action, but also just satirize sequel culture. But it just somehow feels, it's just like, how do you do fellow kids? Like that Steve Buscemi meme. Like, there's just nothing new or interesting here, and it's just so lazy. Sony's 2025 reboot of Anaconda is a movie fighting with itself. I really wanted to like Anaconda, and honestly, I did have fun watching it. This movie is suffering, and I mean suffering from being two completely different movies that never fully agree on what they are supposed to be. This is one of those projects that fascinates me more than it satisfies me, because buried inside Anaconda is a genuinely good movie. And then on top of that good movie, Sony just kind of dumps a studio action thriller. This is a meta reboot of Sony Pictures' Anaconda, and the movie makes sure you know that. It acknowledges the original with J-Lo and Ice Cube. It references Hollywood reboots. It comments on modern franchise culture. And for the first chunk of this movie, that approach actually works. It starts very strong. We meet Jack Black and Paul Rudd as childhood friends who always wanted to make movies. Jack Black now makes wedding videos, and Paul Rudd is technically an actor, but like barely. He's playing Doctor Number 2 in a bit role, and he's just constantly hustling and failing. They reconnect with friends played by Tandy Newton and Steve Zahn, and decide to finally make the movie they never got to make. Doug writes a low-budget script, they cobble together some equipment, and they head into the jungle for 3 weeks to shoot it. And honestly, that's a great idea. This feels like it could have been a heartfelt, funny, cathartic movie about friends reconnecting through art. I was getting real National Lampoon's Vacation vibes, a road trip comedy full of gags, but secretly about family regret and doing things for the people you love. It even reminded me of older comedies like Anchorman, Step Brothers, Wedding Crashers, simple concepts, human comedy, and a story that grows naturally out of relationships. And for a while, Anaconda feels like that movie. Then the second half hits, and suddenly this sweet, meta, character-driven comedy gets swallowed by a cheesy action thriller that feels completely unearned. And it's pretty frustrating because the movie manipulates the plot just so you can have these stupid action scenes. Like, it was so obvious to me at some points, just like, don't do that, but this has to happen so we can have this stupid action scene. The theme of these friends reconnecting through filmmaking gets shoved into the background so we can hit action beats that feel post-Marvel studio mandated and weirdly hollow. It's like you can actually see the strings on the puppet. And the biggest issue is a character played by Daniela Melchior, who is the most obvious MacGuffin I've seen in a while. She has no real character, no backstory, no emotional purpose. She exists purely to flip the movie from fun adventure comedy into action thriller. Unlike Jenny Slate in Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 or Nick Jonas in Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, another, desert island type of movie, this character doesn't reinforce the themes at all. She's just a switch. And once she shows up, the movie becomes about surviving snakes instead of anything meaningful. I don't think Anaconda's really bad. I had fun with it. It's cheesy, lazy in places, and it's deeply disappointing, which is different from awful. There are 2 cameos at the end that are genuinely funny, make me smile, but they don't matter. They don't serve the story, they just exist for applause. And that small difference between being funny and meaningful is what breaks this movie. This could have been a comedy classic. Instead, it's forgettable noise with a cool snake. Still, I had fun, I just wish it trusted itself more.